Yo guys, how you doing? UFC Oklahoma this weekend, DDP versus Usman. I'm here to give my full predictions and breakdown for every fight on the card. Excuses, I know it's Friday, but I've been busy, so I know the fights are tomorrow, but is what it is. At least you're getting the predictions. Either way, first fight on the card, Ezra Elliott versus Damian Anderson. I'm just going to put it out there, I don't know too much about Damian Anderson. I did have to do some research on him. I know, call me a casual in the comments, whatever you want. Ezra Elliott, I do know stuff about. He's one of Tim Welch's boys. Trains at the Red Hawk Academy. I think he trains at the MMA lab, actually, as well. Not completely sure. 7-0 versus 5-0. Battle of the undefeated. This is a short notice fight, I'm pretty sure. Apparently, Ezra Elliott has a 72-inch reach advantage. Amazing website, UFC. Well done, guys. Damian Anderson is a small favourite in this fight. I can't comment on that because I don't actually know too much about him. Ezra Elliott, I do know stuff about. Like I said, he is a very well-rounded fighter. He's good on the feet and he's just as good on the ground. I think pretty much all his wins are by finish. Both these guys got a lot of finishes in their undefeated records. This should be a finish. I reckon I'm just going to go with Ezra Elliott just because I know more about him. I don't know nothing about Damian Anderson. I'm just going to go with Ezra Elliott by finish in the second or third round. On the feet, it's got a TKO over Damian Anderson in the second or third round. Moving on, we got Anna Melisano versus Dione Barboza. Another fight making their debut in the UFC. Haven't been bothered to put their stats on the website. Well done, lads. Here's the thing, yeah. Here's the thing, you guys. Here's the thing about the women's MMA regional scene. It's crap. It's not good, yeah? Like, this Anna Melisano, she hasn't beaten anyone of note one bit. She hasn't a contender series fight. She's come straight into the UFC from the regional scene. And Dione Barboza, yeah, she's a bit of a win-lose fighter, but she's beaten UFC caliber fighters. You can see she's a minus 600 favourite here for a reason, and rightly so. I only see this fight going one way. I don't know too much about Ella Misano, but I know the women's MMA regional scene is crap. Haven't seen anything on her. She wasn't on the contender series. I'm just gonna go with Dione Barboza by decision because it's a women's MMA fight. Moving on, got RJ Harris versus Alvin Hines. Again, another fighter, and the UFC haven't even got their stats on the website. Brilliant, good stuff, lads. RJ Harris making his debut, coming to the regional scene. He is undefeated. He's 4-0. He's bigger than Alvin Hines as well, height-wise. He's 6'6" or 6'7", I think, compared to Alvin Hines, who's 6'2". Quite a few of his wins, I think, I'm not sure how many out of the 4, I think 2, 3, 4 are by submission. Alvin Hines hasn't fought since last year. I think it was like June last year, when he fought Jonota Deniz, lost by decision, but it didn't look terrible in the fight. He's got a decent gas tank, Alvin Hines. He had a good third round. He can push a pace for a heavyweight. You know, he is a bit of a plodder, but he can push a pace. He's not horrible. I'm going to go with Alvin Hines in this fight. I'm going to go with Alvin Hines by a late round finish. I just think he'll be able to push a pace better in the later rounds. He's been around for a longer time as well. He was fighting in the amateurs back in like 2013, well before RJ Harris had even started his MMA career. That experience does come helpful when you get to the UFC. I'm going to go with Alvin Hines by finish in the later rounds, in the third round, just because he can push a higher pace. We'll have to watch out for the submissions of RJ Harris, though. I think he's got a few standing chokes. I think he has a heel hook, or am I thinking of someone else? I might be thinking of someone else. But yeah, I'm going to go with Alvin Hines. As long as he watches the submission threat of RJ Harris, he should get this one done on the feet. Alvin Hines by third round TKO. Next, we got Alden Correa versus Stuart Nickel. I really don't understand this fight. Alden Correa, he's 2-0 in the UFC. He's a decent prospect. I mean, you can look at the odds here. Minus 1,100 favourite. Stuart Nickel, I think he's had 3 fights in the UFC. Lost all 3 of them. He's coming off that loss to Alessandro Costa. We got finished by a body shot TKO in the second round, I think it was. Funny enough, Alden Correa actually has a win over Alessandro Costa, which has actually aged very well because Alessandro Costa's on a bit of a win streak himself, and he's probably one of the better flyweights who's outside the rankings. I don't understand this matchmaking at all. Unless they're just trying to get rid of Stuart Nickel, so if he loses this fight, they have a reason to kick him out. I know this is gonna sound mean, yeah, but like I look at Stuart Nickel, he doesn't look like a guy that can cause harm. Like, if you know what I mean, like sometimes you should look at fights and think this guy can cause a bit of damage. Stuart Nickel he's a bit of a, as Lucas Tracer said, a bit of a pipsqueak. I don't think he's UFC caliber level, if that makes sense. I don't think he's UFC level. I think Alden Correa will get it done by finish in the first round. He's tall as well, 5'8" for flyweight. That's a pretty tall guy for flyweight. I don't understand this matchmaking one bit, but I think he'll get it done in the first round by finish over Stuart Nickel. And bye-bye Stuart Nickel. I think you're being cut from the UFC. Moving on. Levi Rodriguez Jr. versus Felipe Franco. You might know Felipe Franco. He had that short notice fight against Mario Pinto at heavyweight back in the on the London card back in March. And he did alright. Mario Pinto, he's a good heavyweight. He's a decent heavyweight, and Felipe Franco took in the distance. I think he took a round off him. I can't remember. It was. I think he did took a round off him. I think he did take a round off him. Yeah, he's not horrible, Felipe Franco. On a few days' notice against a decent heavyweight, upper weight class. It was a decent little performance. Levi Rodriguez Jr. is undefeated, I'm pretty sure. Another Brazilian. Oh, it says it there. Don't need to fill you guys in on that. He was actually tested. He tested positive on the Contender Series for because he got a win on the Contender Series and he got overturned to a no contest because he got done for steroids. That's why I think he's because I think his Contender Series fight was ages ago. That's why I think he's waited so long to get his UFC debut. He has got a lot of finishes on the regional scene, but he hasn't fought anyone of note. He is a small favourite in this fight. I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure what the odds are basing it off, but just from what I've seen more of, I'm going to go Felipe Franco. I mean, he was decent at heavyweight, which isn't his natural weight class, like I said, against Mario Pinto. So at his natural weight class, I expect him to be a bit quicker, bit more smoother striking. I'm gonna go Felipe Franco here by decision. Yeah, Felipe Franco by decision, and he's popping as well. He's scumbag, Levi Rodriguez. Anyone who pops steroids in any type of combat sports, scumbag. Either way, we've got Jean Paul Labusniani versus Sokyon Ko. I saw that clip the other day of Jean Paul saying he was going to get slammed out in the first round. I can't remember who he was with. I think it was with Jaden Cable. I don't think he's going to get slammed out in the first round, but I am going to go Sokyon Ko to win this one by decision, by dominant decision. Both these guys are actually coming off wins against Phil Rowe. John Paul went to a split decision with him. I don't think he was need for a split decision. I think he clearly won, but it was a close fight. And Sokyon Ko dominated for 3 rounds. Sokyon Ko is a very aggressive, offensive wrestler. He's had 2 fights in the UFC. He had that Phil Rowe win and beat Oban Elliott before that, which is a decent little win. Oban Elliott is a tricky customer. Sokyon Ko, I think he'll get his grappling going early. John Paul is better on the feet. He's got decent kicks. His Contender Series fight, he won by head kick. He got a head kick. I don't know if it was straight from the head kick, but he landed a nice head kick, finished the guy. So he's good on the feet, John Paul. Sokyon Ko, I just think his wrestling will be too much. I think he'll get his wrestling going early. I think he'll control John Paul on the ground like he has done for his last 2 opponents, and get this done by decision. And he's a decent little prospect. It's funny he's called the Korean Mike Tyson, but literally does not stand up in any of his fights. Bit of a weird nickname. Ironic. Either way, moving on. We've got Austin Bashi versus Jose Miguel Delgado. I'm gonna go with Jose Miguel Delgado in this fight. It's a 50-50 fight here on the odds. He's got a massive height advantage, 5'11" versus 5'6". From what I've seen more of Delgado, and I'm just more impressed with him. Austin Bashi's 1-1 in the UFC. Can't remember who he beat in his last fight, but he's more of a wrestler. He's not going to try and stand up with Delgado, I don't think. Delgado's a lot better on the feet. He's got long limbs. He's got good knees. He got that crazy knockout win in his debut last year with a flying knee. He had a close fight with Nathaniel Wood that was a bit controversial as well. And Nathaniel Wood is a very good featherweight, probably the best featherweight outside the rankings. Delgado, he's good. I can see him catching Austin Bashi on the way in with maybe a knee, elbow. Them long limbs are really tricky to deal with if you're the short fighter. For example, Carlos Prates at welterweight, and Ian Gary, for example. Them guys with long limbs are so hard to deal with as you're a short opponent, because as you're walking in, you get hit with the knees, with the with the leg kicks, you know, with the elbows, because they can reach you from so far away. I'm going to go with Jose Miguel Delgado by TKO in the later rounds. I don't see Austin Bashi getting his wrestling off as effectively as he needs to get it done in this fight. I could see him getting caught on the way in, but it's not the end of the world if you lose to Delgado. He's a good prospect. I think he's even ranked in them stupid Meta AI rankings, so the guy's good. Moving on. Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Montez. Seen everyone saying this is Sean O'Malley versus Ilia Topuria from Wish. Montez really does look like Ilia Topuria. He's got the tattoos and everything. Tommy McMillan is one of Sean O'Malley's boys. I don't know if they're boys, but they train in the same gym under Tim Welch. 10-0, good prospect. Won his debut back in April against Zucchini, Italian fella, where he just came out swinging and just had like a 2-minute scrap and eventually put Zucchini away up against the fence. I don't think he'll go out against Montez with the same game plan. I think he'll be a lot more composed. Because Montez, if you rush into stuff, Montez has got a nasty dart stroke, and that's what he won his debut by. I think he fought Ricky Tercios. Got a dart stroke in the second round. He's got a nasty dart stroke. I think I've seen a lot of people online picking Alberto Montez. Tommy McMillan is the small favourite here. I'm going to go with Tommy McMillan here. I think he's better on the feet. Simple as that. And he has got good wrestling credentials, so he can fall back into his wrestling if he is struggling on the feet. I don't think he will. I think he can push a better pace over 3 rounds. You saw in his Contender Series fight in the 3rd round, he was pushing the pace on his opponent, beating him up against the fence. I'm excited. This probably is the 3rd most exciting fight on this card. I'm arguably more excited about this fight, or more interested in it, than I am Cannonier and CLD. Because these are 2 hyped up prospects. A lot of the line for these 2. Whoever loses, especially if McMillan loses, a lot of guys want to see him lose. I don't know why. But Montez will get a lot of hype if he wins this. Same for McMillan. A lot of haters will shut up if he wins this. He's got a big frame for featherweight as well. 6 foot versus 5'7". 6 foot's a big frame for featherweight. I think that's around Diego Lopez kind of size. He's going to have a decent reach advantage as well. 5-inch reach advantage. Decent leg reach advantage as well. Yeah, I think McMillan, as long as he watches out for the... he doesn't rush into anything and watches out for the submissions of Alberto Montez, because he's got a nasty anaconda choke as well, not just a dart stroke. He's got a range of submissions that he's very good at. I think Tommy McMillan will get this done. So keep butchering his name. Tommy McMillan will get this done by... I'm going to say by decision. I think he'll push a pace over 3. I think he'll tire out Montez. I think he'll be on the feet. He'll be piecing him up, getting the better of him. I'm going to go Tommy McMillan by decision. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if he walks into something stupid and Alberto Montez. Jesus Christ, I keep butchering names today. And Montez latches up a dart stroke or an anaconda choke, as he's very good at that. But I'm going to go McMillan by decision. Jesus Christ, I have nothing to say about this. Tabitha Ritchie versus Fat McCline. Tabitha Ritchie fought Jandaroba in the last fight. Fat McCline's on a little win streak. I think she beat Angela Hill in the last fight. It was a decent little win. I don't see Tabitha Ritchie winning this fight. I think Fat McCline win this fight. Jesus Christ, got nothing to say. 5'1" versus 5'6". She's got a height advantage. She's got a massive reach advantage as well. She is a decent favourite in this fight, rightly so. Honestly, I'm just going to go with Fat McCline by decision. I have nothing to say about the fight, but Fat McCline's going to win. Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. Now, this is actually interesting. Chase Hooper's a decent little favourite here, minus 360. It's kind of like lost to Lance Gibson Jr., who I didn't actually rate that highly, but then again, he had a close fight with Bobby Green and put Chase Hooper away. And Chase Hooper has some decent wins. Those are only in fights where he gets his grappling going. What he did against Lance Gibson, he pissed around on the feet for too much. And he's not horrible on the feet, Chase Hooper. He's just there to be hit. And he pissed around too much on the feet. Didn't get his grappling going early like he should have. And got caught with an elbow, I think it was. Maybe then, or was a head kick. Elbow, head kick. And got finished with ground and pound and that was it. Mitch Ramirez, who's he beat? Who was it? Mike Davis. It was Mike Davis. Beat Mike Davis in his last fight. Put him away. I think it was by finish. fun fact about Mitchell Ramirez, he fought Carlos Prates on the Contender Series, and he actually went past one round. He didn't get put away in the first round. He got finished badly in the second round, though. Was it the second or was it the third? I think it was the second round. At welterweight, that was. I'm going to go Chase Hooper here. I think I'm going to Chase Hooper by submission in the second round. I think he would have learnt his lesson not to piss around on the feet too much and just get his grappling going early, because once he gets his grappling going and he gets you back, it is pretty much over. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I do think Chase Hooper, you would learn from that, from his last fight, and just get your grappling going early. He's got some decent submissions, beat Jim Miller by submission, which is pretty decent. Jim Miller has quite a few submissions on his record, so that's quite impressive. And Chase, he's a good grappler. Like I said, he isn't bad on the feet. He's got decent kicks. His punches are a little bit, but they're a little bit, but he's got decent kicks. I don't think he have as much to worry about on the feet against Mitch Ramirez compared to Lance Gibson Jr. I don't think Mitch Ramirez is as good on the feet compared to Lance Gibson, but I'm gonna go Chase Hooper by decision. He should get his grappling going early, and I think he'll win it quite comfortably. He'll take Mitch Ramirez's back and submit him by rear naked choke let's go in the second round. Got Jared Cannonier versus CLD in the co-main. It's actually interesting. Most people are going with CLD just because Cannonier is on the out. He's getting older. He's been in a lot of 5-rounders. He's done a lot of rounds, taken a lot of damage. In his last fight, he got knocked down twice against MVP. I think most people are going with with CLD just because he is the guy on the up. He's a younger fighter. He's the prospect, do you know what I mean? But I am going to go with CLD, but I think it's a lot closer than people think. I don't think these odds should be as wide as they are. Maybe a 2-1 favourite for CLD. But CLD's fun to watch, though. I mean, his last fight against Roman Dolidze wasn't the best, but Roman Dolidze, he's a tricky customer. He makes it tricky against you. He's experienced, but CLD handled him well, clearly won. Roman Dolidze was complaining about the decision. I don't think he won. I think it was obvious win for CLD, 29-28. Cannonier, like I said, lost to MVP last year. Hasn't fought in a while, but got knocked down twice. And I don't know. Cannonier's still good though. He's experienced. Cannonier, if you are not good enough for the top 10 in the middleweight division, Cannonier will show you that you're not. He will beat any up and coming guy, any up and coming prospect who's not good for the top 10. He will. I do think CLD is good enough for the top 10 in the middleweight division, and I do think he'll win against Jared Cannonier. He's just glad this ain't the 5-rounder in the Apex. That's a mythical fighter. Jared Cannonier in the Apex in a 5-rounder. He's beaten some guys, beaten Strickland in a 5-rounder, beaten Vittori, beaten Robocop in a 5-rounder at the Apex. You don't want to meet Jared Cannonier in the Apex in a 5-rounder. But I think CLD will get this done. I don't think he'll put Cannonier away. He might drop him. He's got very not unorthodox. He's got a wide range of weapons on the feet. CLD likes to throw spinning back fist quite often. But yeah, he's a very good striker. He's the more technical striker on the feet compared to Cannonier. I think he will drop Cannonier at some point in this fight. He'll catch him with something unorthodox. I don't think he'll put away Cannonier. I don't think he'll finish Cannonier. I'm going to say CLD by 29-28 decision. Yeah, let's go for that. Main event time. Whew. This is interesting now. DDP's back. Honestly, I can't wait. DDP's one of my favourite fighters. I was devastated when Chimaev decided to sniff his crotch for 5 rounds, but it is what it is. He's back versus Kamaru Usman. This is an interesting fight. This is probably the most anticipated fight night main event of the year. Kamaru Usman moving up to middleweight. I think whoever wins this fight will get the title shot. Imavov will be getting skipped, especially if Usman wins. If Usman wins, Imavov's getting skipped because no one cares about Imavov, whereas people care about DDP, people care about Kamaru Usman's. And that's just the way it is with the UFC. I think if DDP wins, especially, I think he said in an interview, beating Kamaru Usman isn't enough, but if I beat him in spectacular fashion, I'll get a title shot. And I think if that happens, he will. Imavov will be getting skipped because no one cares about him. Simple as that. I'm not going to give my prediction of the fight yet. I'm just going to discuss a few things. Kamaru Usman is coming off that win against Joaquin Buckley. That was ages ago. It's over a year ago he fought Joaquin Buckley. Yeah, where he smudged him for 5 rounds, got his wrestling going early. But then again, we know how poor Buckley's takedown defenses. Showed that again against Sean Brady back in UFC 328. you would have you'd think DDP would have worked on his takedown defense. I mean, his takedown defense ain't bad at all, but you know, it is Chimaev, and Kamaru Usman is a very good grappler. You think he'd be working it in his camp, because Kamaru Usman will go out there and try and wrestle. I don't think he'll want to stand on the feet too much with DDP, as I think DDP is definitely the superior fighter on the feet. He's more powerful. He's got more weapons on the feet as well compared to Kamaru Usman. I am gonna go with DDP in this fight. I'm gonna go. He's a decent. He's a little favourite here. I'm gonna go with DDP in this fight, and I think he's gonna finish Kamaru Usman. And I think he's gonna finish it. I'm gonna predict it. He's going to catch Usman with one of them long right hands he likes to throw that he broke Strickland's nose with when they fought in the rematch. He's got a powerful right hand, DDP, and he whips it round on the counter. Like, he caught Strickland and broke his nose. He caught him like a few times with that. It's a hell of a right hand. I think he'll catch Kamaru Usman with that. I think he'll catch him loads of times on the feet. And like I said, actually, I want to add one more thing. DDP's takedowns aren't bad. He's got decent takedowns himself. I don't think he'll be taking down Kamaru Usman. I don't think he'll try and wrestle with Kamaru Usman. But yeah, it's not like he's like terrible at wrestling. The guy's got good takedowns himself. You know, it's just Chimaev. You know, that's what Chimaev does. Not against Strickland though. You know. But yeah, I think DDP will get this one done on the feet. I think he might have a round or two where he does struggle against Usman. I think Usman will be able to get his wrestling going at some point. And Usman's not terrible on the feet by any means at all. But I don't think he'll be giving Dricus any problems compared to when he's fought the likes of Adesanya or Strickland in the first fight. I don't think there'll be anything to that. I think Dricus will have he'll be a lot more comfortable on the feet in this fight. More like the not as dominant as the Strickland second fight, but Kamaru Usman, he will be there. He'll stay there. He's durable, but I think Dricus will catch him in the later rounds with one of them looping right hands, and I think he'll finish Kamaru Usman by TKO in the third, fourth round. I think, yeah, I said a couple competitive rounds at the start, and then I think Dricus, the longer the fight goes on, Dricus will start to push a pace on Kamaru Usman. He's only getting older, Kamaru Usman, so if he wants to get a title shot at any point, because he's only getting older, he's only getting more inactive, he has to win this fight, Kamaru Usman, if he wants a title shot. Or he wants to become champion before his career ends. I don't think he will though. I said DDP is going to get it done by third or fourth round. Fourth round TKO over Kamaru Usman. He's going to catch him with them looping right hands. I'm calling it. I'll come back to you when it happens. Anyway, cheers for watching, boys. These are my predictions for UFC Oklahoma. Cheers for watching the video. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. See you in the next one. Peace.